I'm Michael Pauly, and you're listening to The Featured Voice with Jacques, an audio flow podcast series. Lend these 6 narrators your ears, because they deserve to be heard.
Hey everyone, welcome to Season 3 of The Featured Voice. We are here with Episode 1 with someone who is not a stranger to our show. He's not a stranger to any of you, hopefully, and you've had a chance to already take a listen to some of his works. I'm excited to chat with him again, of course, because it's my birthday, and what a perfect way to celebrate than with my good friend, Aaron Shedlock. Hi, Aaron. Welcome to The Featured Voice. How's it going?
It's going very, very well. How are you?
Hey, I'm here hanging in there. Today is my birthday, so I can't be any more excited than talking with you on my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. So maybe I'll get a song later.
Maybe not.
Well, at least I thought I would ask, I thought we were cool like that, and you just go ahead and say yes. But I'll work on that. I'll work it in during this conversation at some point. Well, it's so funny because the last time that you and I chat, I introduced the show and said that you were on The Featured Voice, and you were really on the audio flow, which is...
Yes.
So technically, this is your second time on The Featured Voice. So
technically, yes, this is my second time, and I'm doubly excited about that. Is that a word, doubly?
It is today.
Maybe, probably not.
It
is now. I just made it up.
I mean, people make up words all the time. So, I was watching the news the other day, and our fearless leader said that he had never heard the word fake before, and it's a new term that he likes to use. So,
fake.
Yeah, he thinks he made that word up.
I gotcha. Yeah.
So
thanks a lot of things.
Okay, no politics. Enough about that. So what's been going on with you? I know we chat a couple months ago, and you were really busy with your schedule, and we were doing the Road to 50 and #West, and I know that you've got a ton of new books in your library that you've been working on. So from the time that we chat, I think it was probably like July or August or something like that. What's been new with you, and what's coming down the pike for Aaron Shedlock?
So much has happened in the past 2 to 3 months. My schedule just went absolutely insane. I started getting lots and lots and lots of offers, and I pushed really hard to try and narrate, trying to hit that road to 50, I guess. I've got a lot of titles that have come out in the past couple months, and I'm probably not going to be able to remember any of the titles because I'm trying too hard to think about it. No, I've got a lot of stuff. Just in the past couple of weeks, I've had I started doing some narration with Tracy Marks / Laurel Schroeder, and I love her to death. She's so awesome. And that relationship just kind of blossomed and bloomed. We did one book, and then all of a sudden we had offers for doing several books. And one of the books was Elusive, which was coming out, I think, about the same time as our last little session. And that book has become very, very popular. It's in the Salt Tree Listeners Awards. It was in the semifinals, and it actually made it through. So now it's in the finals, and it's up against some really awesome books from other super famous narrators that everyone knows. Sebastian York, Andy Arndt, Laurel Schroeder she had 3 books in the semifinals. Now she has 2 books in the finals. That's because she's so amazing.
She is, and so with that, after our last chat, I think that you gained some new fans who have been kind of stalking you and your work. So I will go ahead and give myself a pat on the back for that, because I swear people were sleeping on Aaron Shedlock. Don't sleep on him. He's fantastic. And I'm so serious. So since you and Tracy, aka Laurel, started working together, have you found that you really enjoy doing duet? Were you guys doing duet narration, or was it dual you guys were doing together?
Those have all been dual narration.
And so
and I do like it. I do like it a lot. Yeah, I like having someone else take care of the female side of the book. I mean, I love doing female characters, but when you're in a female POV for a long period of time, not just dialogue stuff, it's just so much better to have another actor. We don't necessarily bounce off of each other, but we kind of do. We get together beforehand and we talk about the characters. She reads some samples of her voices. So when I'm doing those characters in my chapters, I know where she was going with. I know what kind of emotion she was putting into it. I really like the idea of working with somebody else on a project. It's that whole collaboration thing.
I love really nice. That. I like that you said that you guys have kind of this conversation before, and that she gives you samples about how she's narrating the character and getting the emotion, because sometimes that could be a miss in a dual narrated book because the emotions don't match. And it becomes a disconnect for the listener, because I mentioned this at a conference I went to. You know, the male who is doing the female POV kind of gives her a snarky something, and then when the female goes back and reads it, she doesn't sound anything like that. And so it's like, well, which person is she supposed to be? So it's confusing. So I like that you guys get together and you bounce that off of each other. Now, do you give her samples of your work too, so she'll know kind of where you're going with your character's mood and attitudes?
Oh yeah. It's a back and forth. I upload stuff, she uploads stuff, we listen to it, we both read the book at the same time, we have a quick little conversation about it, and then we jump into the narration. And so far everything has worked out just tremendously well.
Yeah, obviously, because you guys continue to get work together where people are requesting. Now you are set. It's kind of like you see people who normally narrate together. So now she's kind of your, I guess, work wife. Can I say that?
She's my work wife. Yeah, you can say that. She's my book girlfriend. My book wife.
That's right. Your book girlfriend. I love it. Yeah. All right. So I know in our last episode that we did together, we kind of already discussed what your journey was into audiobooks and things like that. So I don't want to really repeat that. But I know that you also mentioned that you were a writer, and not too long ago, you told me that you decided you were getting back into the writing. So do you think that your writing will change a little bit now since you've been doing more of the narration? How do you think that's going to play into how you're going to continue your writing career, if you're going to, go full force with that?
I think it's definitely gonna change the way that I write. I have a very particular style, probably just from the types of authors that I've spent the majority of my time reading. But now I've been reading so many different genres of books. I've been reading a lot of romance, so there's a lot more emotion in those books, and I've been reading a lot more different types of sci-fi stuff, and just the whole narration process on its own. You read the book in a different way. You're performing it, and you're telling the story, which is, that's what writers do. But when you actually perform it, and you kind of try and become the characters that are in the book, and then you also become the narrator of the book, the main storyteller, it just alters how you think about stuff. And it's I've come back into the process. I kicked the dust off my writing software recently, so I'm coming back into the process from a different. I've got a different perspective on it.
But you're not going to narrate your own book, huh?
I will never narrate one of my own books. No.
No.
I have specific narrators already picked. And I wonder if I'm actually writing these books based on the performances that I've heard from these narrators. Because I've already got my female narrators picked out, and I've already got my male narrators picked out. So
yeah,
I wonder if that'll affect. Yeah.
You did. You hear their voices when you're writing, and so you're like, "Oh,
Yep.
this person is totally it." I do that when I write because I hear
Yeah.
your voice. Is that weird?
No, it's totally normal, totally natural.
Any book I read that there's a male character, I hear your voice.
That's awesome. Thank you.
It's not weird, I promise.
No, it's not weird at all. I love it.
And then in my head, I'm like, Road to 50. How can I get him to narrate this book for me? You know what? I should just send you books. You don't even have to, you could just read parts of it, and I can use it as kind of like my bedtime story. Some people listen to music.
Yeah.
I could just listen to you read like a chapter in somebody's book, and I'd be totally satisfied.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they should make those, maybe they should do something where there's a book and it's called like bedtime stories, and they get different narrators to come to get together, and they each write they each narrate one of those stories and put it in a big audiobook and sell it like that. I think
Audible has something like that. Maybe not called bedtime stories, but they definitely have those big compilations. They had narrators reading newspaper articles or something at some point I saw.
Yeah, see, no, I don't want to listen to the news. I want to listen to something that's going to soothe me and, help me have nice dreams. So, yeah. I don't know.
We should do that. We should find a collection of stories and put them all together, and you'll cast everything, and it'll be a cool project. That's a good idea.
I'm all about that. So, Aaron, okay, so this is the feature voice, and what I like about this particular series is that it gives me an opportunity to, again, introduce you and your work, not just to listeners, but also to authors. And for those of you guys who don't know, Aaron was the first, I always want to say narrator, but I want to say something else. He's my audio book bestie. Is that our hashtag? So he's like my audiobook bestie, and he was the first person to do the intro for the Audio Flow show. And then you will also hear him on the Audio Flow intro as well. And so what I like to do, Aaron, I'm going to give you a little test here because I want people to know your skills. And this is totally impromptu because I went to an event and I found this game called it was like complete rubbish or something like that. And there's these little phrases, and each phrase you have to say it to a different dialect or use a different voice. Okay? So this is how I'm going to test you. It's not really a test, but it's just something a little bit fun. Okay? Now, not all of the accents are accents that you would normally really hear in a book. I mean, I might make it up, and you just have to go with it. So, all right. So I'm going to find you something. Oh, okay. So we're going to start with my favorite tongue twister. Okay, this one's really
tongue twisters. I am bad at tongue twisters.
Okay, it's not she sells by the seashore because that one's hard. But my favorite is, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? You know that one, right?
Oh, yeah. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Perfect. Now, I get to give you the accent, so you just remember. Okay, right. So we are going to go with, we'll start with something easy because everybody loves your Irish. That's my favorite. And then we'll get into something a little bit harder. So whenever you're ready.
Irish?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wee bit of Irish in here. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Now do that same accent as Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, he's Scottish with a bit of an English flair to it. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How about William Shatner?
William Shatner has not necessarily an accent, but a pacing that is very particular to him. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
All right. I love it. Okay.
This is how I spent my teen years.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, who was I thinking of? How about, do you watch The Voice?
I don't watch The Voice.
Do you know Blake Shelton?
I know his name and I know what he looks like and I know who he's dating. Who is he dating?
Gwen
He's
Stefani.
dating somebody.
Gwen
He is dating,
Stefani.
okay. And she's on The Voice too.
Well,
so I used to have a mad crush. Well, maybe she used to be on The Voice. I know she was on there at one point.
Yeah, they switch the ladies up every now and then.
Oh, darn it.
I'm sorry. That's you were mad crushing on Gwen, who's having a baby girl. So, yeah.
Oh, no. Good for her.
Okay, we'll come back to that because we'll have another game for you later on. So, tell me, what is it that you're looking to do as you try to make your road to 50? What are the books or the genres that you have yet to step into that you are most excited about trying to get work in?
The genre that I'm most excited to work in would probably be young adult. I don't know if I have the right voice for it. Perhaps, maybe. I mean, I can do enough characterizations where I can make like a good young adult title work. Some new adult stuff, which I've actually done recently. Mm-hmm. Urban fantasy. I think a couple of my books loosely fall into that category of urban fantasy because it's kind of a broad area. I would love to do some urban fantasy stuff. I just finished a book for Tantor, so I got some sci-fi out of my system. And cool thing about sci-fi is you can push a little further into the realm of character voices. You can, and this book in particular was cool because it was set in the future and basically all of society, like Europe, was basically all mashed together into one big giant mega suburb kind of a deal. So I was able to make up my own accents. I blended a little bit of Russian with some Ukrainian, with some British, with some German, and maybe a little Austrian, Polish kind of hints in there. So I was actually able to, which there was a downside to that as well. I was able to come up with my own accents. The downside was remembering how I came up with it. Like what Polish consonants was I throwing in with this Russian accent to make it? And so I had this big, massive recording of all the different character voices that I made, and I had to go. I spent so much time going back to reference. I was like, well, what did that guy sound like again? What was I thinking when I came up with that? It doesn't work for half this stuff, but it actually worked out. So some sci-fi. I definitely want to do some more romance. I just finished a book that was one of the most emotional characters. He was damaged, but in a very, very particular way. And the book was called Possession. It was written by A.M. Johnson. It was something I narrated with Laurel Schroeder, Tracy Marks. Mm-hmm. And the character had schizophrenia. So he had internal voices going on inside of his head. And they were actually characters in the book where he would be interacting and then the voices would basically be chiming in. And I want to do more characters like that. I want to do more books like that. These emotional books that kind of touch on some sensitive topics, but do it in a very delicate and very, a beautiful way.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do some more of those books. That one was fantastic.
And how did you kind of prepare yourself for that type of role? I think in our last conversation, we also chat about another book that was kind of, emotional and kind of dark. I think it was Prisoner. And
Prison,
so now,
yeah.
Prison. And so now that you have this one that's, really different, dealing with, mental illness and things like that. Mm-hmm. So how did you get into the character, or what kind of things did you do to prepare so that you could kind of give, 100% into that character?
That one, I read the book all the way through. I did another very detailed read where I only read my chapters. So I totally took the other point of view out of the equation. So I read only my Declan chapters. Mm-hmm. And then I watched A Beautiful Mind because that was a good movie that kind of touched on that subject. I don't know if that really helped because he was a different kind of a character, but he was still fractured and damaged. I think the biggest thing that I took away from watching that was how it was affecting his professional life. You know, he was a very gifted mathematician, and his illness, the medication that was required to control his illness, completely took away everything that he had. And there were some similar aspects going on in this book. So I took little bits and pieces from a couple different areas. I went online, I read up a little bit about some different schizophrenic disorder. I can't remember the actual names. They had some pretty technical names.
Yeah.
And then, but I think I got the most out of just reading Declan's chapters again the second time and really focusing on the emotional effect that his schizophrenia was having on him. Because in the book, he's a painter and he's a tattoo artist. So he's a very creative individual. And, you know, his voices just basically torture him in a way.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be interesting when you are playing one character with 5 character or 4 character personalities. And and you know what? That reminds me of the movie Sybil. Do you remember that movie with Sally Field? And she had like, I don't know, 50 personalities, and they were just all swirling around in there. And but the thing is, what I like about books like this is that it doesn't become something that people should be fearful of. It kind of brings attention to these different disorders that people deal with and that they face. So even though it's a fiction book, it still gives us kind of an inside you know, idea about what people go through. And so because you were able to bring that character to life and really go into it, and I have it on my in my library, and it's just sitting there, and I think I have to be emotionally prepared for it, but maybe I should listen to that and then listen to something a little dirtier. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, this one, the dirty level in this book wasn't quite so dirty because it was more of an emotional title. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably the best idea. You know, have a dirty backup.
Like a chaser. Yeah. You have a drink, and then you have to have a chaser to help you kind of get through it. Yeah. So you said you haven't done young adult yet, and I will tell you that you have a great voice for young adult books, and sci-fi, and pretty much anything that you want to do, because you're very versatile. And I've been able to hear that just through the books that you currently that you've completed already. Yeah. Now, do you read young adult or urban fantasy?
Yeah, young adult and urban fantasy are my favorite right now. I mean, for the past 15 years or so, that's been the majority of the stuff that I've actually bought and read. When I go to Barnes & Noble, it's such a dangerous place for me because I still buy hardback books and paperback books, the actual physical copies. I don't do a ton of ebook reading. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know why I like the whole young adult coming of age kind of time period, that those early and late teen years, early 20s, even new adult kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I really like books in those genres for some reason. They do it for me.
Yeah, they do it for a lot of people. And I think it's because it kind of reminds us of our innocence. We didn't really, growing up, we didn't really think about a lot of things that kids deal with now. We didn't really have a lot of those things happening. And when you read them now, it's kind of like a comfort and escape from, every day.
It is.
Now, do you have, now as far as young adult, are you more like young adult? You know what's weird? I don't really know. It's like, all I know is young adult, there's contemporary, then there's young adult, and there's like paranormal. What else is there in young adult? I mean, I think I should know this answer, but I don't.
Pretty much every genre has probably a young adult side to it. There's young adult sci-fi, urban fantasy. Harry Potter would be considered a young adult fantasy series, or maybe urban fantasy because it's set in the modern world. Mm-hmm. I think every genre has a young adult kind of component to it.
And what's the genre that you would like if you were narrating in young adult? Which genre would you like it to be
in? Probably paranormal is one of my favorite areas. Anything that involves anything make-believe, paranormal, urban fantasy, even sci-fi. There's a couple of really good sci-fi books that I read that I really liked, and they were all set in that time period. The one thing about that time period, like the whole young adult aspect that gets me so much, is the amount of change that's happening. You're a teenager, you got tons and tons of hormones, your body is changing, your mind is changing, you're being opened up to a whole, a world around you that you've never experienced. It's like it's a first time for everything at that point. Maybe that's what I like about it so much.
Yeah, and I know a lot of authors who write young adults, so the goal is we're going to get you in a young adult book. That's my goal before, let me see, I would say before the year is over, but we're already in November, so I don't know how good I am with that. But I might be good, but I'm not great. So we'll work on that.
We'll work on that, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to work on that. And so have you ever done any historical romance at all?
I've thought about it. I've auditioned for some titles, but the big thing about those types of books is they usually require, or the authors are generally asking for, a very particular British BBC style accent for the, the narration, the characters, because they're usually set, in those time periods where that accent was prevalent. And it's I like doing British accents, but that older historical version of it is very easy to get wrong. There's a lot of the cadences are a lot different from modern language. You just have to be, there's particular narrators and actors that are very, very good at it, or they just had a tremendous amount of coaching. Joel Leslie Frumpkin is one of them. He has perfect historical British romance voice. He does such a great job. I don't know if I would be very good at it. I would definitely try.
So it's just not you don't think it's your thing right now. Maybe later.
I'm not sure. Maybe if there was a book like that was coming, I would definitely get with a voice coach, a dialect coach in particular, probably Joel Leslie Frumpkin. And I would get with them and perfect and kind of hone that style before I would try and tackle that on my own.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will tell you that I love your voice in anything that you do. And so I always want to ask you to sing, and you told me no earlier, or maybe not. So I just want other people to know that you are multi-talented, and not only are you proficient in your acting skills when you are narrating an audiobook or doing commercials, but you also sing. And so that's why I said, you should go ahead and sing a little. I didn't ask you to bring out your guitar or anything like that. So, even if you just did, a couple Twinkle Twinkles and Little Stars, I would be totally. It's my birthday, Aaron. I mean, I should be.
I'll sing for you. I'll sing Happy Birthday to you.
Let's do
for
it.
you.
Let's do it. Okay.
I wouldn't really say that I'm proficient in this. I just do it.
No, it's fine. You're great. You're great. You know how I feel about you. Everything you do is great.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's give it a try. Okay. Oh. I'm messing with you now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jacques. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, and you should see my face right now. Well,
is it red, or is it like a face of, oh my goodness, that was so bad?
Great. Okay, so I'm black, right? So really, black people don't. I mean, they blush different, but I'm kind of fair skinned, so I might be a little red, but you'll never know.
Okay. So I'm very pale, so if I'm blushing, everyone knows about it. It's like seeing a stoplight on a road intersection.
That's really red. I love it. Okay, so before we go, I gotta know, here's a couple things. So we usually ask everybody who's a part of the Featured Voice, they give us 5 to 10 facts or whatever. But that's for us to share later out during the week. But what I do know is that you have a dog. And I got to know about the dog because I'm such a big dog lover. So I got to know about your fur baby. Tell us if it's a male or female, how long you've had it, what's the dog's name, and how you came up with the dog's name.
I have 2 dogs.
Okay, 2. Let's hear it.
So I have to give them both equal love.
Yes.
Let's talk about the first one. The first one, his name is Maximus Longevius, the 17th Earl of Wiener. That's his official name. We call him Max, or some form of Max, either Maxi Pants or Maxi Boy or just Maxi whatever. It depends on your mood. If you're angry at him, maybe some other words might come out with that.
Oh God. At least it's not Maxi Pad, because that would just be mean.
No, that's just straight up. I would never call him that. He's a boy. He's your typical boy dog. He's hilarious. He's equal parts. He's a wiener dog, so he's equal parts completely adorable, and then you also there are times when you don't like him at all, because he likes to bark at anything and everything that's outside. The mailman, cars driving by, people, chickens.
Chickens.
Which hopefully, I do have a chicken story. My neighbors randomly let a giant group of chickens kind of cultivate in their yard. And I don't know what you call a group of chickens. It's not a posse. Maybe it is a posse of chickens. We have a posse of chickens, half of which are all roosters, and they roost right outside my studio. So if you hear chicken cock-a-doodle-doos in the background, that's why I'm actually kind of struggling with that with my recording right now. But Maximus Longevius, it is awful. It's horrible. I think I'm going to have to talk to my wife about maybe relocating some of these chickens to a chicken safe haven that's here in the city.
Yes.
Because I can't. I have to work. I can't have chickens roosting in the background of all my audio. It'll take away.
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
Do a farm book or something that'll add to the ambiance.
That will work.
Okay. Maximus Longevius, the 17th Earl of Wiener. He's a 13-pound boy wiener dog. He's super amazing. He likes to watch hockey with me. He pretty much likes to do anything with me. We do everything together. And he's got a huge personality for such a tiny dog. And he's your typical dachshund, black and tan colors. So he's.
And how long have you had him?
We've had him for 3 years.
Okay.
We found him. We were driving home from the gym, and as we were driving, we saw this tiny little black and tan, little super tiny. I think he was about 7 pounds because he was a puppy when we found him. He was running right down the middle of a very busy road.
Oh.
And yep, he was so scared. His little eyes were like the size of Oreo cookies. So we stopped. We blocked the whole street, this whole big intersection. We stopped, and I ran out there and I chased him down. And there was another car that stopped on the other side of the road. Thank God they stopped because he hid underneath it. And it was a big giant truck. Oh. So I crawled underneath this truck and I pulled him out, and he's been with us ever since. We got him chipped, and we got him neutered, and we got him all of his shots, and he's one of the favorites at the vet's office. So he goes in there a couple times a year to say hi to everybody.
Oh, you saved him.
Yeah.
I love that.
So now he's my best friend.
Oh.
And it's awesome. And we have another dog who is the complete opposite. He's 153 pounds now.
Oh
we just took him to the vet recently and got him weighed in. He is an Irish Wolfhound. His name is Seamus. And he is a big disaster area. He's kind of floppy. He's kind of clumsy. He's got big shaggy gray hair that's just always all over the place. He looks like Doc Brown from Back to the Future half the time. And he's basically a giant Muppet. But he acts the same as the smaller 13-pound dog, who's super excitable, jumping all over the place. Well, so is this 153-pound dog. He gets excited, he jumps all over the place. We call it Muppeting. Because, if you watch Sesame Street and you see like Animal or one of the other crazy
Yes, I was just going to say,
that's him.
Like Animal?
Yeah, that's him. He's like a culmination of all the Muppets put together in this big, giant beast of a dog. He's super awesome. And his best friend is Maximus, the little, the tiny little dachshund. They spend almost all their time together. We hang out, we watch shows together. We all have a dog pile on the couch. We all pile together and we watch our shows and stuff.
And what was the dog's name again?
Seamus.
Seamus, right. So I was like, yep. Seamus, I should not forget that. He's got a nice Irish name.
He's a nice Irish boy.
So that's how you would picture he would sound in your head?
No, I have a voice for him, if you want to hear it.
Let's hear it.
He sounds kind of like this. He's very Muppety, and I get very excited, but I'm clumsy, and I knock stuff over, and I break things, and things get snagged in my fur, like cords and USB cables and network cables and the TV ones, and yeah, he's a character. He's going to be in a book at some point.
He should totally be in a book, and you can narrate them, right? You would narrate the animal characters yourself?
Oh, yeah. I would love to narrate animal characters. That'd be so much fun. I could do whatever I wanted.
You could.
Nothing. No holds barred.
Have you done any children's books?
Haven't done. Actually, yes, I did. It wasn't for money or anything. I had a friend of mine. His son turned 3 years old, and it was Christmas, and I wanted to give him kind of a special book, and also a special kind of my own thing as his Christmas present. So I found a vintage copy of. Oh no, I can't remember it. It's the Katie and the Big Snow is the name of the book. It's an old little children's book, and I narrated the whole thing for him, and I mailed him the book, so we got to open it up. But then once he opened it, I had sent the MP3 of my narration to my friend, and they all got together as a family, and they played my narration and read the book at the same time.
Oh, I love it.
It's Katie and the Big Snow. That was a lot of fun.
I think children's books, when narrators have an opportunity to do those, it kind of, again, goes back to the idea that we chat about, you listening to, reading YA books. It kind of just makes you feel all warm and, can I say warm and fuzzy? Because, it makes you think about your childhood, and so I think you should do another children's book. We're going to add that to your list of things to do. And,
children's books, YA books. Some more emotional romance. Yeah.
Yes. I'm making notes here. In case you didn't know, I'm making notes here. So we know that you have a busy schedule and you've pretty booked up through the end of the year. So how close do you think we are to 50 by December 31st?
I think by the end of December, I will have between 30 and 35 books total.
All right, so we didn't do too bad. So if we don't hit 50 by the end of the year, then I'm going to say at least by February next year, we should hit the 50 mark. What do you think?
Yeah, hopefully. I've got some stuff scheduled for next year too. But yeah, I think end of February, maybe pushing into March. My narration schedule is just getting more and more busy. And I'm narrating the books faster and faster and faster. And luckily for me, they're all amazing books. I keep getting these excellent offers for titles that the covers look fantastic and the stories are really good. And I'm meeting several new authors that are new to me and working on their stuff. So
yeah, that's got to be fun. So when you decide which books that you want to go with, do you have a process of what you kind of look for that kind of says, yes, that piques my interest, other than what the genre is?
The cover of the book is the initial peak of interest that actually gets you to open up the cover if you're at a bookstore, or click on the link if you're on something like Amazon or Audible. The cover is really important. That draws you in, and then reading the first few pages, you can usually tell a writer's style in the first few pages. You can tell, even probably just in the first few paragraphs, if you're going to like that book, if you're going to enjoy the writing style. That's why for authors that first page, that first paragraph is so important, because that's what's gonna hook the people in. So you gotta get them quick.
Yeah, you really do. And that's with anything, even with the blurb. I mean, most people don't read blurbs as much anymore. We all one click. We have narrators that we don't care what you're reading. Like you said earlier, people are reading the newspaper. If you were reading the menu at McDonald's, I'd buy it because I'm like, Aaron is reading the McDonald's menu. You got to buy it. And there's music in the background. So let's do it. So, so I like to also find that information because authors need to know that, when they are looking to hire somebody, what is that person drawn to, or what's going to attract them to their particular work. And so, book covers, the same for readers. It's the same for narrators. We're visual. So we like to see a good cover. And so, okay, so we know that you're going to be busy. We're going to follow up with you again. We're going to have a party that's going to say Road to 50. Actually, we're going to say we made it to 50. When you get to
50.
Yes, when you get to that 50th book, we're going to come back. We're going to have a party. We're going to probably invite some of the authors that you narrated with to the show, and we're going to celebrate that milestone with you. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic. I would love to do that. I would love to get everyone else in the same digital room and chit-chat, because everybody has such big personalities, and they're so fun, and they're so creative. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'll get Laurel in here too, aka Tracy, and whoever else we can get to join the party. We'll do it. So everybody, it'll probably be sometime. We're gonna say in March. So I'm already giving you that deadline, Aaron. You gotta make that happen.
Excellent. I like deadlines. That's how work gets done.
Exactly. Okay, so before we go, I ask that you would let everybody know how they can get in touch with you if they're looking to hire you for any work that they have going on, or if they just want to stalk your page and listen to you narrate books. How can they find you?
Oh, stalk away. The best place is Facebook. I have 2 accounts on Facebook. One is my narration page, which is Aaron Shedlock, voice artist. And then I have my regular Aaron Shedlock, just me, my me page. You can follow me at, and actually message me on Twitter. You can tweet and twit and do all the things that people do. It's at Aaron B66. It's actually a very old Twitter handle. I wonder if I can change that.
You can change it, Aaron.
Can you? I'm going to have to change that. That's from an old studio that I used to own. But at Aaron B66, that's what it is right now. You can find me on Instagram, which is just Aaron Shedlock on Instagram, and email, which is ashedlock@gmail.com.
That's how
if you want to send me a personal message.
Yes, send personal messages, and you guys need to tweet him more often, because I don't think he gets on there as much as he should. And so
I see some of the tweets. I never joined the tweet bandwagon. I follow it. I go on it every now and then, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of stuff happening here. And I'll go through and I'll like stuff and I'll retweet things and I'll share things, and then I won't look at it for another week.
And then you won't say anything. You got to say something.
I have to tweet things.
Yes,
I have to become a little tweeter.
Just one.
Yeah,
hi.
Just one.
You can say, hi, I'm Aaron Shedlock.
Yes, that's a good idea. I'm gonna take your advice on that. I'm gonna spend some more time. I'm gonna spend time going on Twitter every day. That's gonna be my goal for this year.
And our goal is that we're going to help you with that. So we'll just tag you on some things, and then that'll spark you to respond. So we're going to help you up your Twitter game.
That sounds amazing.
All right. And so before we go, are you going to be at any events you know of next year that we should be looking to try to get at so that we can meet you? Next
year, I've got 2 events booked so far. RT in Reno is the big one. I'm actually going to be on a panel. Men in Romance is the title of the panel right now. I'm not sure who the other narrators are that are going to be on the panel, but I was selected. Aaron DeWard chose me. Yay. He asked me to be a part of that, and I agreed, even though the thought of sitting in front of a room full of authors and readers chit-chatting scares
You'll
me.
be great. You'll be great.
I'm going to be great. It's going to be fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. I have APAC, which is, I think, the weekend after that. So that's going to be, May is going to be a crazy month. And then there's another convention happening over the summer, another panel that you were talking about.
Yeah.
That I might have to attend.
Yes, you should definitely attend that. And we are thinking about Indie Book Fest, which happens in Orlando, and it is August 9th through the 12th next year. So hopefully Aaron will be joining me out there. So you guys mark your calendars if you want to meet Aaron Shedlock. Fabulous guy, warm, very easy to work with. You guys need to connect with him and come and meet him at one of these events because he's going to be there and he's going to be awesome. So
yes, come say hi.
Come say hi. All right, Aaron, thank you so much for being on season 3 of the Featured Voice. I can't even believe we made it that far.
Season 3, I can't believe it. You've been working so hard this year. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you that all this is working out. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime.
Oh, thank you so much. You're awesome.
And if I had $1 every time somebody told me that this year, I could probably retire. So
yeah, or at least buy like a nice car.
I know, right? A better pair of headphones for
some beats.
Right, exactly. And also, I'm doing a special broadcast for my 1-year anniversary. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to kind of help out with that and kind of call in and ask some questions and help me interact with people on my anniversary, which is going to be December 11th or 12th or something like that. So just throwing that out at you. Yeah,
I would love to do that. I will definitely chime in and I'll have to formulate a list of questions to ask you.
Oh, gosh.
So it'll be fun. No. You have to do accents. You need to say tongue twisters and accents.
You do not want to hear me try to. Yeah, no. On that note, everybody, I'm just kidding. But everybody, thank you so much for joining in for season 3 of The Featured Voice with my special guest, Aaron Shedlock. Thanks so much for joining us for this week's episode of The Featured Voice. Be sure to tune in next week as we chat with Troy Duran. For more information on this and upcoming episodes, be sure to follow us on Facebook at The Audio Flow, as well as Twitter on _audio_flow, or you can find us on Instagram at The Audio Flow. Until next time, have a great week.